conversation.
Hello, welcome to GameSpot's coverage of E3 2016. Here to talk about Steep, Ubisoft's brand new IP. We have Rebecka, studio head from Ubisoft Annecy. Hello, Rebecka. Thank you for joining us. And of course, Justin Hayward.
I'm a skateboarder extraordinaire.
He is. I've seen him do it. Rebecka, what is it like to be able to speak and show the world Steep?
We've been waiting for this moment for such a long time, and that's why I was laughing so much on stage. You know, I haven't even been able to talk about it with my kids at home. So everybody, we've been longing for this date for a long time, and we're just overwhelmed. It was so much joy in the audience yesterday. So yeah, and the feedback has been great so far, so we're very happy. It's
like being in the CIA. Do your kids try to like sneak into your computer to find things and like, oh, I know what mom's working on? No, because they knew that we, that as a studio, we were working on The Division and Ghost Recon Wildlands, so we've had a lot of discussions about that at home. But this is our passion, and I really wanted to share it. So I spoke to them this morning, and they went, oh, that game is really, really great, Mama.
So where are the inspirations? Where did the idea come from for Steep?
Okay, so we are surrounded by mountains, and the passion in the studio is really the mountains, whether it's paragliding or whether it's skiing or snowboarding. Of course, it's not wingsuit because that's such a risky sport. So we've been waiting to make this game for a long time. And then we saw the technology for Ghost Recon Wildlands that is set in Bolivia, where a lot of mountains, and we thought, this is really interesting. So we started to take a look at that technology. And then we had an old prototype in one of our drawers with a jet ski on water. And the physics of that prototype was very good. So we actually took the Ghost Recon technology, put that together with the proto we had on a jet ski in the water. And the marriage was great. So we got a proto functioning very quickly.
And of course, you guys have a lot of experience working with multiplayer games and creating those kind of experiences.
Yeah, it's really our DNA of the studio. We started off with a multiplayer on Splinter Cell. And then we moved on to the multiplayer on Assassin's Creed, where we did 4 iterations up to Black Flag. We learned a lot, so yeah, it was a very good experience.
So this is the first game your studio's taken point on, then?
This is our first game as a lead studio, yes, and we are very proud.
Is that hard, making that transition from being kind of a support to taking center stage?
Yes and no, because there are so many... Ubisoft is a big machine, and there were a lot of things that we were not familiar with because that had been managed by the other lead studio on Division or AC. So yes, we're learning, but we're very well surrounded by our colleagues, so it's fine.
So you had the prototype, the jet ski, and the Wildlands mountains mashed together. It worked. How did the approval process kind of work? Like, was it immediate, or did they say, "Gonna make some changes here," or was it just always your baby?
It was always our baby, and we've had a lot of support.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about what you'll actually be doing in the game. It's very multiplayer focused. You're not just going to be playing by yourself.
You can, if you want to, and there are a system of quests as you go from one drop zone to the other, and there will be a very tiny narrative story mode where we will explain the different mythics of the mountains. So you can play alone, but of course you will have so much more fun playing together and sharing that experience.
Are these based on real places, or are you just inspired by the world around?
Oh, it's real places. We have had to change them because you cannot ski on all faces of Mont Blanc, and we want the player to be able to play everywhere in the mountain, so we've had to do some adjustment. But if you know the Alps, you will recognize the tops of the mountains immediately.
So I guess with that, did you guys get to do a lot of on-site scouting, and did you get to do a lot of traveling for research?
Well, actually, we don't need to because we live in the mountains and we spend all our time in the mountains.
So just out the window.
Yeah, and the team goes skiing every Tuesday night, and we go skiing together on the weekends and everything. So, of course, we've done some research, but it's in our blood, and yeah.
So you had experience with skiing. What about paragliding and wingsuiting? Where did that kind of come from?
Well, so we realized we've had this dream. We realized there were not a lot of games out there for a long time. We also looked at what's happening on YouTube with all the sharing, and we thought, wow, this is people are sharing their real-time experience. Why shouldn't we be able to do that in a video game? So we started off, of course, with the snowboarding and the skiing, and then we saw, wow, people love paragliding and people love wingsuit. So that's why we decided to go for those sports as well.
What was the GoPro culture kind of a
an inspiration for that at all as well?
Of course, and we have a lot of GoPro people in the studio that make their own videos and that share them as well. And we also think that the young generation coming up, having played with Minecraft, this is what they do. You know, they have their YouTube channels and everything. So we think that that will be a great tool for them as well to share their experience. I don't know if you saw yesterday the sharing that we have, where you can zoom out and zoom in and replay, take your screenshots, and just press the share button.
So it's like as you go through a run, are you able to just like stop and go back and look at where you were at there? And it's really
That's
cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of the sharing, is it just through the PlayStation Share button, or are you guys going to have some kind of inbuilt social network to kind of join all these players together?
Well, we have a natural social network in the game because the players will play together, but we will have more information on that in the future.
So let's talk a little bit about, I mean, like the camera. So you can see here we've got it like really zoomed out. We've got the GoPro camera. Are there any plans? I mean, it kind of seems like that in VR would be kind of cool.
That's a very interesting question. Of course, the steep experience in VR would be perfect. So this is something that we are looking into, but I cannot comment on that today.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, in creating a multiplayer experience like that, when you have so many people coming together, does it also tie into the Ubisoft Play, or is this kind of something where you wanted to build your own system? Like I know Ubisoft kind of has its built-in networks as well.
No, of course we will work with Uplay and the Ubisoft Club, and it's more and more games from Ubisoft are of course multiplayer and community, so it's natural for us.
Have you found out that you're already getting people like getting really excited, building that community already? Even though you only announced yesterday, there must be people sat at home going, this is what I do in real life, I'm going to play this game.
We already had fan clubs last night sharing the screenshots with like 450 members in just a couple of hours. So yeah.
Wow. How big
sorry to interrupt you. We have people have really been waiting for a game like this. So yeah.
How big is the team working on it?
Am I allowed to talk about that? We are in Annecy about 80 people.
So you're still going to have people working on Wildlands and
of
The
course.
Division?
Yeah, we're a multi-project studio, and we will work on different brands. It's a decision that we've taken for the studio, and I think it's important because working on the same brand for many years in a row, it's a fatigue, and people need inspiration to be creative and to be innovative. So I want the team members to have the possibility to change from one brand to the other when they need to. So we will continue to be a multi-brand studio.
And does that breed a sense of collaboration where people who are working on one project might share ideas and say like, this would be really cool if you could integrate it somehow into Sleet or another game you're working on?
Of course. And so everybody in the studio are very proud of Steep, even though they're not working directly on Steep, because they feel that they are contributing as well by the learnings we got on The Division and by the learnings that we're getting on Ghost Recon Wildlands. So everybody in the studio are very proud.
So when do you guys have an estimated release date yet?
We announced it yesterday. It's for this December.
Perfect.
Yeah, and looking at a game like this, of course, I think you said that people are going to be highly anticipating it. But was there any sense of apprehension or a little bit of fear once it goes out? Like, oh, what if people don't like something like this? Or was there any kind of that apprehension?
Of course, and we have a saying in Swedish where we say, never say hello before you jump the river. And so of course we went. It's a new brand, it's a new game, and it's our baby, and we've been working on it so hard. And sometimes you lose the distance. We're looking at all the assets and everything. So, of course, you don't want to take out the victory beforehand.
How long has it been in development?
For 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Slowly. How difficult was it? I mean, a lot of games, this E3 especially, have leaked ahead of time. How did you manage to keep this under wraps? Make sure people adhere to their NDAs.
I don't know. I mean, we were very... so the team was very small from the beginning, and we gradually ramped up when we needed to. And I think it... I don't know why it didn't leak. I mean, there are so many reasons for leaks, but we kept it secret.
It wasn't that you ruled with an iron fist and huge NDAs that would just destroy people down.
You ask my team if I'm the Iron Lady.
How did you get involved in Ubisoft Annecy?
So I've been in the video game industry since. I shouldn't even say that because I started in localization testing back in '95, and I started at Infogrames Atari back in '98. So I've been in the video game industry for quite a while, and I joined Ubisoft 5 years ago. And I had some conversations with them, and they called me and asked if I would take on this opportunity, and I went like, "Wow, of course! It's a ANSI studio, multiplayer and AC and everything." So
yeah. You kind of have a unique role. It's not the kind of person that we tend to talk to. We tend to talk to creators and developers. What do you do at the studio?
Every day?
Yeah.
I drink tea. No, I work closely with the teams to make sure that, as I said earlier on. What do I do? I'm in meetings the whole time. We take decisions, we anticipate the risks, we assure that we have the right people at the right spot. We assure, because we're working with a lot of new technologies, you have to train the people on the different technologies, so I assure that we have that. I look into the budget, I calculate how much money we spend.
It seems like there is a big sharing culture at Ubisoft, obviously with so many studios around the world. Has there been that kind of support network as well?
Oh yeah, of course. So we're working on the same technology as Ghost Recon Wildlands, so of course we do, we share with the studios working on that technology, but the same with the division. We work on the Snowdrop technology with a couple of other studios like Red Storm, of course Massive, and as well as Reflection. So we share technology there as well, of course.
Wonderful. Rebecka, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, very excited to see more of Steep. And it's coming out this December.
Thank you.
Thank you. For more coverage from this year's E3, make sure, of course, you stay tuned to GameSpot.com.